In the heart of a tranquil village, nestled among lush fields and shaded by an ancient banyan tree, stood a temple renowned not for its grandeur, but for the wisdom it inspired. Its simple stone steps had borne the footsteps of countless villagers, each seeking solace, answers, or direction. The air carried the soothing hum of cicadas, and from dawn to dusk, gentle incense smoke drifted toward the sky, a silent witness to stories old and new. It was here, on a humid monsoon morning, that a young man named Anil found himself. Restless and plagued by self-doubt, Anil had struggled for years to establish discipline in his life. He watched others, farmers tending their crops from dawn, artisans perfecting their crafts, elders offering prayers at regular intervals, each governed by quiet routines and a sense of purpose. Yet Anil, despite his earnest intentions, found himself easily distracted. Simple tasks grew difficult, goals faded before they bore fruit. On this particular day, it was his grandmother who encouraged him to seek guidance at the temple. "The mind," she whispered, "is like wild grass. Tend it, and you will have a harvest. Ignore it, and it overtakes your days." Her words lingered in his mind as he knelt on the worn mat inside the temple, surrounded by flickering lamps and the faint, ever-present rustle of the wind through the pillars. Before long, the old temple priest approached. He was revered not for rigid doctrine, but for his wisdom, imparted through stories and gentle guidance rather than rebuke. Recognizing the unease in Anil's posture, he knelt beside him and spoke quietly. "You have come with questions, but sometimes answers reveal themselves through experience rather than words." With that, the priest gestured for Anil to join him on a short walk outside the temple grounds. They walked slowly, the priest's steps deliberate, conscious of each moment as though savoring the present. "Discipline begins with your mind," he began, "and the mind is shaped by what it pays attention to." He pointed to a nearby field, where a young boy weeded his vegetable garden. Each weed, if left unchecked, would choke the young plants. Tending the mind, the priest explained, was much the same. Recognizing distractions, desires, and fleeting impulses, then patiently pulling them out, so that what is truly important can thrive. Sensing Anil's craving for something more tangible, the priest offered a story, a tale once whispered among the monastery walls of his youth. "Many years ago, in this very village," the priest said, "there lived a monk who wished to find enlightenment. He believed that discipline was painful, a burden one must carry alone. Determined to master his mind, he spent years in silence, resisting every desire, denying every comfort. Yet despite his efforts, he grew no closer to his goal. Frustrated, he turned to his teacher, who simply handed him a small pottery bowl with a tiny crack on its side. Each day the monk was told to carry water from the river to the temple in that very bowl. At first, the water drained before he could reach his destination, and he felt only failure. But the teacher encouraged him to keep trying, to observe the water, the weight of it, the way the crack shaped his journey. In time, he realized that his focus was not on the path, but on his inability to fill the bowl. Once he began to pay attention to each step, steadying his hands and adapting his pace, less water spilled each day. With patience and presence, he learned to fill the bowl completely, despite the crack. The teacher explained, "Self-discipline is not about denying life, nor about being perfect. It is about persistence, about adjusting and growing more aware of oneself with each setback. The mind must be trained not by force, but by gentle, consistent effort. With every attempt, every failure, and every success, discipline grows." Anil, listening intently to the story, understood that the journey of training the mind began not with harsh self-judgment, but with daily small victories. As the two returned to the temple, the priest suggested a simple practice. Every morning, before the world intruded, Anil would light a lamp and sit in stillness, focusing on his breath for just 5 minutes. Each day, he was to mark his progress not by perfection, but by presence. Over time, Anil discovered that mastery over his mind was less about radical transformation and more about gentle, persistent effort. The same fields where he'd felt overwhelmed by distraction began to feel like places of renewal. The rhythm of daily routine became his ally, not his adversary. He rose with the sun, tended his tasks with intention, and approached setbacks not as failures, but as opportunities for growth. In the years that followed, others in the village began to notice a quiet transformation in Anil. It was evident not in grand achievements, but in his steady gaze, his calm demeanor, and the unwavering sense of purpose that colored all he did. The wisdom of the old temple priest echoed beneath the banyan tree and flowed through every action, a reminder that the key to self-discipline and success first lies in patiently, steadfastly training the mind to return to what matters, moment by moment, breath by breath. And so, the temple's legacy endured, not through stone or ritual alone, but through the silent victories of minds quietly tending their own wild fields, one deliberate step at a time.